This is Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this podcast series is called Spiritual Immersion, Taking the Plunge. You know, and when in the previous podcast, I talked about how I used to play tennis as a kid, and I used to play golf, and I would just whack the ball and see where it goes. But when I got more intentional about it, it got to be a bit more work and less fun for a while. And that's what happens in this process of spiritual immersion, in a sense where we get excited, we get, oh my God, I'm learning so much about myself, I'm learning so much about the spiritual process and who I am or what's true about spirituality. I'm learning about these principles of coaching, but I learn these principles about who I am as a spiritual being, and I'm beginning to integrate those. And it's so much fun. But then there's a point where something starts to happen in you. You begin to be more, you might experience symptoms of physical stuff happening, which is usually purging or detoxing of cellular memory, energetics of past life traumas, ancestral lives. You begin to experience stuff that's uncomfortable. And you may even find yourself mentally debilitated for a while. In a sense, you don't know what's true. This happens quite often for people not necessarily intentional about a spiritual practice, but the midlife crisis is, hey, I don't know what has meaning for me. I don't have a sense of purpose in my life. This feels terrible. Or people who have success, but they don't find the meaning in what they're doing that they're successful at. So there's this place where there's this huge dilemma, like, I don't know what life's about. I don't know the meaning of my life. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to believe. I'm in this place of uncertainty about everything. I have no sense of connection. I love my partner, but I don't have that sense of deep commitment. I don't know. I just feel crazy. That's part of this process as well. We don't know what's there. We don't know what's possible. And where we used to have fun, it becomes overwhelming. Life becomes overwhelming. Every day getting out of bed doesn't make sense. Why am I doing this? So physically, we can begin to feel symptoms that we think, oh my God, I've got cancer, or oh my God, I've got heart stuff. And if it's in tandem with this process, then quite often it's being triggered and stimulated by your intention to know yourself as this human spirit being. And so there's these places where it's fun to be in exploration, fun to be mastering something that you never really had been so intentional about. And then there's a point where it all becomes overwhelming. There's a term called the dark night of the soul, and it happens to so many of us, but we don't talk about it or we don't acknowledge it as that. But it's a place where life in human form becomes so overwhelming, we don't know what to do, and we just go into this dark place. And the dark place is being in the state of all the stuff that we've been ignoring for so long. And it is overwhelming. A particular client of mine, Candace, has been going through this for a while, triggered by her children, triggered by partners, triggered by work life. And when we see life triggering us in so many different places, different areas of our life, different contexts, it's in a sense the universe saying, hey, you got to look at this because it's everywhere. And if you're experiencing the sense of inadequacies or incompetencies or insignificances or whatever that is in different parts of your life or all of them, you go, wait, something's going on that's bigger than me, and I got to take a look at this. And it can be extremely overwhelming, and you're in the midst of a process, a transformative process. It's like the caterpillar who's like, okay, let's go forward. This is fun. And then they find themselves in this chrysalis, and it's like, wait, I don't know what's happening. I'm fragmenting. I'm coming apart. I'm deconstructing into something else. And that's what it's like for so many people who are going through a transformative process, even though it may not be intentional. And a lot of people who go through recovery programs, 12-step programs, they go through this process, but they have a language for it that helps. They have a 12-step program that says, here's the parts of this that you need to pay attention to and attend to, and how to surrender and how to let go and how to turn it over and how to be with the big fat be with. And that's a big thing. That's kind of what this is about today, is at first it's fun, or there's parts that go, this is really fun, or there's times where it's up, you feel good, you go, oh my God, I'm better, I'm getting clearer of all this, and then you plummet again into this place that feels dark, and it feels empty, and it feels like the big abyss, feels like a void. And yeah, it's all of that. And one of the elements of the work I do as a transformational coach is to steward people through this process. You're not sick, you're not crazy. This is exceptionally normal as part of the spiritual evolution, the spiritual integration process of you. This is absolutely normal. But many times it's held with a sense of pathology. There's something wrong. And so we try to fix something that's not wrong. It's part of a process. Again, the caterpillar going into the chrysalis, turning into mush, that's normal for you to have these questions and thoughts and move into this abyssness. That's normal and necessary for every single individual on the planet. So that's the work of being in these states that are overwhelming, that are very challenging to be with. And your human capacity, you have that capacity. I have that capacity. Every single being has that capacity. We're just rarely are willing to exercise and strengthen that capacity. Quite often, and especially now in this time of the COVID virus pandemic, in the climate changes, the natural disasters that are occurring more regularly, it's devastating and annihilating people's egoic tendencies to attach themselves to material wealth, to their jobs, to the success, to money, because that, in a sense, is going away for so many people. And what are they left with when their security blankets, the way that they've been being, no longer exist? The devastation of their reality is like, well, now what? That's hugely overwhelming. And so some people are, in a sense, the pandemic or natural disasters are saying, hey, this is something you got to be with. This big fat be with is, who are you in this human being? Who are you in this human experience? How true are you being in alignment with yourself and your knowing your highest principles, your highest good? This is hard work. People say, oh, I have this philosophy, but when you're in the midst of the overwhelmingness of the process, it can get really scary, and you can feel pretty alone, and you can feel like it's never going to end. And I really encourage you, when you're in that state, to find resources, either these podcasts or my books. Eckhart Tolle, all kinds of people are out there talking about your spiritual human integration. The last couple of weeks, I've been listening to audiobooks, and one of the books I listened to was The Alchemist. And it was so important that I listened to that, and I will listen to it again. It's the third time. But the principles that they're talking about are present even in the midst of horrendous craziness and insanity or situations we don't understand. The principles are right there that we can grasp to and grasp onto and help us. They support us. The other book I listened to was The Four Agreements, and that had the same message, that how we're domesticated, it's just a great word, how we're domesticated and trained to think like everyone else, but trained to think in terms of fear and lack and losing and loss. It's terrifying when life gets uncertain. We don't have a foundation or a grasp on how to look at this and how to be with this. So The Four Agreements is one book that really speaks to that and helps us. The same with the alchemist. So I really encourage you, if you're in those places of the insanity of what you are doing in learning to be sane with yourself, it is overwhelming. And to get the support, get yourself a thinking partner, a spiritual partner, somebody that can walk with you through this, not try to fix it, change it, not try to make it go any faster, because it can't. When you try to go faster, it's like you're trying to push the river, as they say, and it just doesn't work. Being with what is all there is to do. And that's a huge practice. Get some support if you need to. Again, listen to videos, podcasts, books, pay attention, give yourself some time. You might need to sleep, you need to rest. And especially if you're home, socially isolating, you have time to sit with yourself, maybe do some writing or painting or expressive arts or something that helps you be with this situation that at times is like, oh, I got this. And then other times is like, oh my God, it's overwhelming. So I send you blessings through your process. You can reach me at theparadigmshifts.com or email me at rosie@theparadigmshifts.com. All right, big hugs. Bye for now.